intermediate risk DTC. I'll be speaking on for the motion that RAI is good. So we recently had the 2025 American Thyroid Association guidelines, which were very recently published. And the major change that they brought about in this 2025 guidelines were in the stratification of intermediate risk CA thyroid. Now, what they did here was they divided it into two groups, calling it the low intermediate and the high intermediate based on the risk of recurrence. And what did they recommend regarding RAI? So they had clear-cut recommendation regarding low risk where radioactive iodine is not needed, high risk and distant metastasis where radioactive iodine is definitely to be given. But the problem is with the intermediate risk. So they say that adjuvant therapy in intermediate risk may be considered, but this is a conditional recommendation with low certainty evidence. Whereas in the low and the high risk, they have said strong recommendation, high certainty evidence. But in the intermediate risk, this is a conditional recommendation with low certainty evidence. So what have they done? In the high intermediate, they have pulled in together the aggressive histologies, vascular invasion, multiple lymph nodes which are less than 3 centimeter in size, bilateral multifocality which is more than 1 centimeter. In the low intermediate, we have either T3A separately or T1, T2 with limited vascular invasion less than 4 vessels, microscopic ETE, unilateral multifocality or central compartment nodes which are more than 2 mm and more than 5 lymph nodes. So here also we have a problem. They have said more than 2 mm but have not specified the upper limit, and more than 5 lymph nodes in number when they are in the central compartment. So if we look at the literature, now this was a study which was very recently published where they looked at radioactive iodine with recurrences in intermediate risk CA thyroid. They evaluated the impact of RAI on biochemical recurrence and structural recurrence. So 1500 patients, and what they saw was that 10-fold more chance of getting structural and 16-fold more chance of getting biochemical recurrence if no RAI was given in this risk group. Another study which looked at intermediate risk with large lymph nodes and ETE, very large number of patients, 22,000, close to 22,000 with node positive tumors with PTC or PT3 node negative PTC with when the primary tumor is more than 4 centimeters or with evidence of ETE. And what they found was that RAI treatment was associated with 29% reduction in the risk of death. So definitely it helps you to decrease the level of recurrences and also reduction in the risk of death. Coming to aggressive variants, now this was a study which looked at aggressive variants and compared it with PTC, and they saw that the propensity of nodal metastasis and distant metastasis was high in diffuse sclerosing variant and tall cell variant as compared to PTC, and also it was associated with more extrathyroidal extension and multifocality. So they saw that total thyroidectomy and radioactive iodine, it improved survival in this subgroup of aggressive variants. Another very similar study by the same authors, Kajure and Sosa et al., they looked at insular and compared it with the well-differentiated DTC, and what they saw was that the propensity of having distant metastasis was higher as compared to well-differentiated DTC. The 5-year disease-specific survival was lower when compared with well-differentiated DTC. So here also they said that thyroidectomy and radioactive iodine therapy, it independently improved survival in patients with insular variant. So both these studies, they concluded that aggressive variants should be treated aggressively with thyroidectomy and radioactive iodine, regardless of the tumor size. Now we come to vascular invasion, another one which is categorized under the intermediate risk. And if we look at vascular invasion of PTC, now this study, it looked at impact of lymphovascular invasion in otherwise low risk PTC. And what they saw was that whenever there is lymphovascular invasion, the risk of having persistent or recurrent disease was higher as compared to those patients who did not have lymphovascular invasion. And this was more evident when the patient did not receive radioactive iodine as compared to those patients who received radioactive iodine. So definitely radioactive iodine has a role when the patient has lymphovascular invasion. Now, coming to vascular invasion in FTC, now there is a controversy when we look at encapsulated angioinvasive FTC. So the ATA says that when there is limited vascular angioinvasion with less than 4 foci, this comes under low intermediate risk, because certain studies have shown that less than 4 foci of angioinvasion is at low risk of distant metastasis, and therefore radioactive iodine might not benefit. Whereas the ETA and the BTA, they say that total thyroidectomy with and adjuvant radioactive iodine is necessary for all patients who have angioinvasive FTC, because other studies have shown that any number of angioinvasive foci, they pose a significant increased risk of distant metastasis. Now, if we look at less than 4, the risk of recurrence is lower, but it rises when it is more than 4, it rises to 26% or more. So this cutoff of less than 4 and more than 4 is very crucial. You need a very able and a competent pathologist with adequate sampling to tell you that whether the invasion is focal, less than 4 foci or more than 4 foci. So, I mean, how much can you depend on your pathologist for this? And many a times they don't even mention that whether it is less than 4 or more than 4. So definitely a radioactive iodine would be needed in these groups as well. Coming to multifocal PTC, now there are many meta-analysis, and this is a large study with 41,000 patients. 23 studies were included in this, and they saw that the propensity to have extrathyroidal extension, lymphovascular invasion was higher in patients who had multifocal PTC. Also, the propensity to have lymph nodal as well as distant metastasis was very higher, and therefore these patients are likely to recur and they have to be treated aggressively. Another study showing the same thing, and they said that the patients have to be treated aggressively with surgery as well as with post-operative even in the post-operative perspective. So these patients also should be treated with radioactive iodine post-total thyroidectomy. So RAI is a crucial adjuvant treatment in intermediate risk CA thyroid. It improves risk stratification and surveillance because it reduces recurrences, helps in disease control, improves long-term outcomes, and also enables effective monitoring. Now, how do we should follow a tailored and a safe approach. Decision making should be individualized, and a tailored dosing of 30 to 100 millicurie is sufficient in this intermediate risk category rather than giving blanket high doses. This will help us to reduce the side effects like salivary gland toxicity, lacrimal gland damage, and also secondary malignancies, though we don't see those many secondary malignancies, it's much high these days. So with tailored therapy, the benefits will outweigh the risk. So if we look at the cons and the pros, the cons are the studies are retrospective. The OS benefit might be very small. The pros are that it reduces morbidity, reduces anxiety, the risk of reoperation, complications, and the costs that come with reoperations are all reduced. So at present, the benefit analysis, it leans towards giving radioactive iodine in this intermediate risk category. So if we want to categorize as to whom you can very safely avoid radioactive iodine, so no RAI in unilateral multifocal patients where all foci are less than 1 centimeters, or when there is microscopic ET in very small sized tumors, that is when they are T1, T2 and microscopic ET, you could think of avoiding radioactive iodine. Definitely it is needed in multifocal macroscopic more than 1 centimeter sized tumors, aggressive variants, vascular invasion, and when the lymph nodes are large, multiple, less than 3 centimeters in size. Now, relative indications of radioactive iodine, less than 4 foci of vascular invasion, if you're very sure of your pathologist giving a report and it says less than 4, but we have seen that even in ours, and the patients had come from outside, and the patients had less than 4 foci and later they have had distant metastasis. So I don't know how much can you rely on this less than 4 and more than 4 foci of vascular invasion. Coming to the central compartment nodes, it says the ATA says N1A with more than 2 mm size nodes. Now the upper limit is not defined. So if there are more than 1 centimeter size node, definitely radioactive iodine should be given even if it is central compartment node. The TG post-oral thyroidectomy, if it is high, 5 to 10 nanograms per ml, you could consider radioactive iodine because this will help you in monitoring and effective surveillance of the patient. So to sum up, RAI may be avoided in certain low intermediate risk categories when present in isolation. So you should remember this: when it is present in isolation, you could avoid radioactive iodine, that too in the low intermediate with microscopic or unilateral multifocality, otherwise no. It should definitely be given in aggressive variants, vascular invasion, macroscopic multifocality, large and multiple nodes, and any of the two low intermediate risk features, you have to give radioactive iodine. And RAI should be based on individual risk factors for a positive outcome, and patients who would benefit should not be deprived of radioactive iodine. Thank you so much for patient hearing, and now I call upon my worthy opponent to come and take the stage.